Hey, welcome to Classic Car Garage, the classic car restoration how-to television show. Thanks for joining us again this week. Well, if you saw last week's program, you saw Tom and I get started on that 56 Chevrolet Sedan delivery, and boy, have we got our work cut out for us. On this week's show, we're going to show you several methods to remove paint from the body. We'll also be deciding what to replace versus restore on our project car, and of course, Jim Richardson will be along with his Eastwood restoration tip. Well, Tom's over with the project car right now. Let's see what he's up to. Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Great, Jeff.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
So what are you up to here today?
Well, looks like we got a pretty big dent in this fender here.
It doesn't look that big, but actually the effects of this are pretty big, aren't they?
Yeah, this is the primary section of the dent, and this is all the secondary damage on the dent.
So that's what these two lines are here. Let me roll this around a little bit so we can see it easier. It really looks like most of the damage is done right here, but really when you feel that, the effects of that go all the way down into here.
That's right.
So you've got a metal finish pretty much all this whole area, right?
And that's what I was doing with the straight edge to see the depth of the dent. It's actually quite deep right here in the middle.
So we know what our problem is here. The next thing is there an easy way to fix this?
You know, these kind of dents look real bad, but they come out pretty easy.
Do they?
Yep.
What sort of tools do you need to take out a dent like this?
Basic bodywork tools.
Things like a body hammer like this?
A nice body hammer.
And this is a dolly?
A nice dolly.
So really you just need these two tools.
That's right.
And a lot of experience and a lot of practice too.
These kind of dents come out a little funny. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put pressure on the primary area, and I'm actually going to hit it up here on the high spot of this dent. And what should happen is this dent should pop out. Theoretically,
this should pop out.
That's right.
Now, a little bit of advice for you watching at home is don't do this on your valuable project car. It's always a good idea to go out to a place like Memory Lane, get yourself a fender that's already got a dent in like this for a couple of bucks, and practice, practice, practice before you actually do it. Patience is a virtue in this case.
That's right.
Okay, show us how you're going to go about doing this.
Let's try this.
So you've got the dolly underneath there.
You can see how I'm kind of flexing the metal right there in the middle.
It's already popped out.
It already pops out. And then we just tap here on that high section right here. And we've gotten most of that dent out. You can see we've moved all of the secondary damage out.
Right,
we've got a little bit of a dent now here in the middle. And what I'm going to do now is pick that up and we'll metal finish that.
Okay, so your dolly is where? Right about here?
Right about there.
It's right about, it's not up here.
Not yet.
It's here. So you're tapping here around the perimeter of the edge.
That's
now, will you move this dolly up directly behind here as you tap?
Actually, not now, because we've got a low spot right there. And I've got to pick that up with the pick end of this hammer.
So you're going to pick it up by picking it from the other end?
With the pick side of that
just
hammer.
little taps back there. Taps. Now, there's dolly on and dolly off. This is obviously his dolly on method, right?
That's right. That's right.
So this is the dolly on method. Let's see you, at this point you're going to pick up this part of it.
You want to see me pick that now?
Let's pick the low spot up.
Okay. I've got to move this fender a little bit, so I'm going to have a hard time picking that up.
There you go. You want it kind of flat like this?
And now if you can see that right here.
Okay, we'll get a tight shot of that.
Yeah. And it takes a little bit of skill. You got to know where that tip is. Okay, now you can see I've got just a tiny little pick marks right there on the top of that.
I can feel those little high spots there. So we've got most of it picked up.
That's right.
Okay, so now you've got your high spots here. You're going to go over it with a file.
Yeah, this is a Vixen file.
And look how it really shows up. Really shows where those high spots are.
So now we can still see I'm a little bit low right here.
Right in there.
A little bit low right here. So then I'll just continue to do this until I get this all perfectly flat. Should be able to metal finish this 100%.
Okay, so you would take the pick hammer again and pick from the back here to raise this up a little bit. Keep going over it with a file until what? Until all of the paint is off this?
Until this is perfectly flat.
Okay.
And all the paint's gone.
And something like that, of course, it takes you a little while, a little bit of practice to get this looking like it should, right?
But you can see we got the rough side of this looking pretty good pretty quick.
Already, it looks 1,000% better. Okay, Tom, I guess the next step now is to go ahead and rough this out, finish it up before we strip the paint off the car, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Now, when we come back here on Classic Car Garage, stay tuned because we're going to give you a lesson in stripping, paint that is. Don't go away, there's more show right after these words. Welcome back to Classic Car Garage. Well, our Project 56 Chevy is going to need a lot of parts. So we went looking for one of the largest and best parts suppliers of Tri-5 Chevy parts in the country. And we came up with one answer. Danchuk Manufacturing in Orange County, California. Watch. Well, the first thing you want to do when you begin any restoration is to find yourself a good supplier of all the new and reproduction parts that you're going to need. And believe you me, there are going to be a lot of them. That's why for our 56 Chevy Sedan delivery, we've come here to the world's leader in Tri-5 Chevy parts, and that's Danchuk Manufacturing in Santa Ana, California. Now, Steve Brown is the general manager here, and he's waiting for us inside. Wants to give us a little tour. I want you to see what he's got to say because I think you'll find it's a pretty interesting place.
Thanks for coming down today.
Hey, Steve.
Yes.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming down.
Hey, thank you for agreeing to help us out with our Project 56 Chevy.
Absolutely no problem. We're proud to be part of it.
It's going to be a lot of fun over the next 13 weeks, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of you.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Now, as I said outside, this is the world's largest supplier of 55, 6, and 7 Chevy parts in the entire world. How many parts would you say you've got in your catalog?
For the 5, 6, 7s alone, we have a little in excess of 4,000 separate part numbers.
Wow, with 4,000 parts, pretty much anything that anyone would need for a Tri-5 Chevy.
Just about anything you could possibly need, we've got.
Now, if you've got an El Camino, a Nova, so forth, you've got those parts too?
We actually carry a full line of parts for 64 through 72 Chevelle and El Camino.
Now, we're here in your showroom, which is pretty impressive, actually. Would you mind showing us around?
Absolutely, let's go.
All right. Well, Steve, you weren't kidding. Boy, this showroom really is a fascinating place. You've got a lot of items in here. Not quite 4,000, but you've got quite a few, right?
Oh, we have the bulk of it in here. Anything that we can fit in the showcases.
Now,
hang on a wall.
Yeah, and I understand back here in the wall, we've got all kinds of artwork, some of which you sell, others are just collectible pieces. But what's really caught my eye is this grill bar here. For what year Chevy is this?
That's a 1957 grill bar assembly.
And it really is quite beautiful. Now, this is one of those parts I understand that you manufacture too.
We manufacture everything for it, actually. We do the whole grill bar, the lenses, the emblem. We paint them all ourselves. We do the whole 9 yards.
And before you manufactured this, this was something that was not available anyplace else,
Unavailable
right?
When we got into the project, absolutely. It's been a little over a decade now that we've been doing it.
And when you manufacture your own parts, of course, you can keep control of the quality of these items too.
Yeah, still very difficult, but yeah, absolutely. We keep very close eye on the quality in every step.
Now, right here on the table in front of me, it looks like a lot of the parts that you manufacture, again, quite impressive. Here's that grill bar that we looked at earlier.
Yeah.
And one of your guys here is doing some polishing on these parts, right?
Absolutely. What they do back here, this is the receiving and assembly departments. They handle all the packaging, all the cleaning, quality control, all the inspection. Each part gets examined, gets cleaned, gets a sealant placed on it before it goes in its appropriate packaging.
So the key here is quality control. When you order one of these parts, you're going to get exactly the part that you wanted, but it's going to be a great quality part.
Absolutely, absolutely. Got to keep the customers happy.
Now,
they get what they deserve.
Here we have hood and trunk emblems, right?
Yes, those happen to be the trunk emblems for a 55.
Now, let's test my knowledge a little bit. Are these 55 grills?
55 grills.
Okay.
And lunchtime.
And lunchtime too. And over here we've got our hood ornaments, which are the birds for which year?
That's a 55. We make the 56 also.
And here's the famous item that these cars were kind of famous for.
1957 bumper bullets.
Bumper bullets. Some people call them different things, but here, these are actually bumper bullets.
Absolutely.
And over here, of course, some taillight assemblies and the gold pieces, which were on 57s, but also on the 55s and 6s.
5s and 6s had a couple pieces, crests and stuff like that. The 57s mostly had all the gold, the front and rear Vs, license plate frames, the Chevrolet scripts, Bel Air scripts, you name it.
Steve, thanks for the tour here today. We look forward to dealing with you again soon.
Well, thanks again, Jeff.
Take care. Looks pretty good, Tom. Hey, welcome back to Classic Car Garage. You've roughed this out, and actually we're almost ready to strip the paint on it, but first of all, tell me about this file. This is a Vixen file?
This is a metal finishing Vixen file.
Okay, and the properties of this that make it different from any other file?
Well, the teeth on this are pretty coarse. And this is for roughing out bodywork or metal finishing bodywork. This is the tools that you know, a lot of old timers would call a metal finishing file.
And obviously they do make files with closer grooves here to sort of do some more fine finishing. But this feels pretty good. Now, if you want a set of these body tools, you want Vixen files or maybe you want a body hammer like this. Good place to get this sort of thing is Tools USA, and Buddy Turner there's got pretty much everything that you're going to need. Okay, so we're going to want to go around the car, rough out all the body work, and the next thing is going to be paint stripping, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now with paint stripping, the number one rule, and from experience, is safety. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Things that you're going to need to strip the paint. Obviously, you're going to need paint stripper. So here it is, aircraft paint stripper. This is really strong stuff. Stronger than the sort of thing you would use to strip furniture. It's extremely effective, so you want to be real careful with this. Next, you're going to need some brushes to put that paint stripper on with. And these are the type I buy right here. These are 99 cents a piece. You don't need to buy camel hair brushes because once you've used these in paint stripper, believe me, you will not want to use these for anything else. We're going to toss these out when we're done with them. Next up, of course, is going to be some sort of protection for your hands. Some rubber gloves like this. Now, these are a little thicker than your regular rubber gloves. They're made especially for use with chemicals. The other types of rubber gloves, the ones that you would find in the store to do dishes with, just won't do the job. They won't protect your hands. That paint stripper will eat right through those. Next, of course, you'll want to wear a long sleeve shirt because when that paint stripper gets on your skin, it's going to burn. And then finally, be sure to protect your eyes by using some sort of safety glasses like these. Okay, these are very inexpensive. You can find these in most of the home improvement stores like Home Depot, etc., Lowe's, all around the country. So Tom, if you're ready there, slip on your gloves. We're just about ready to strip some paint. Now, it doesn't take a whole lot of this to do the job. We're going to show you exactly what's involved here. So get yourself some sort of a bucket like this and just pour some paint stripper in there. And start out with just a little bit. You're better to have too little in there than too much. And be careful that you don't get it on too much of anything because, of course, it will eat through whatever it gets on. Also, throw down some sort of covering on the floor there, too, because that's going to get messy. Well, Tom, grab a paintbrush and show us the method that you use to apply this paint stripper.
Well, one of the biggest mistakes that people make with using paint strippers is they don't put enough on. So the paint stripper can never work. And the other one is that after they wipe it, they re-wipe it. The problem with that is that this has a paraffin base. And the manufacturer recommends that you put it on real heavy, as heavy as you can, so it doesn't, slump off of there. But the paraffin has to skin over the top, so then it sends the solvent down and then removes the paint stripper, and it works really good if you do that simple method.
So we're going to paint it on in one direction
One
only,
direction.
right? And then wait about how long for this to work?
Oh, you'll start to see it work right away.
It'll bubble up right away. Ultimately, we're going to let it sit on this finish for what, 5-10 minutes or so?
5-10 minutes.
And then take it off.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll grab a brush and give you a hand here. Let's get started.
Okay.
And you can see now, it's only taken this amount of time for this paint stripper all ready to work. I'll push a little bit off of it here. Look at how that primer comes right off of there. Isn't that great?
This is a really good product,
It just peels right off of there. Now, ultimately, we're going to let that work a little bit longer, Tom. As I said, 5 to 10 minutes. And then how will we clean up this sheet metal?
What we do is we'll take a plastic scraper, like a Bondo spreader, and we'll scrape off all of the primer that's on there. And then we'll take a Scotch-Brite, 3M Scotch-Brite, and a little bit of lacquer thinner, and it'll clean off the rest. It'll be down to bare metal.
Beautiful, clean fender. So that's it, folks. That's all there is to paint stripping. Really not too much to it. Just take your time and, of course, keep safety in mind. Don't be rubbing your eyes when you're working with paint stripper. Now, when we come back here on Classic Car Garage, we've got the new product segment, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Classic Car Garage. Before we get out of here today, we've got a couple of new products that we want to share with you. The first you may have seen, it's been around a while. It is the California Car Duster from the California Car Cover Company in Chatsworth, California. Now, this has often been imitated but never duplicated for a very important reason. These cotton fibers that you see here are impregnated with paraffin wax. So instead of like the imitators where you simply push the dust around on your car, this paraffin wax here will grab that dust and will actually hold it here in the cotton fibers until you shake it loose. And actually, this is one of those few products that the longer you own it, the more you use it, the better it gets. It's from the California car cover company, Chatsworth, California. This retails for about $19.95, and it comes with a carrying case like this that you can hang it on your garage wall. Also comes in a smaller size here. This is called the Mini Duster. Does the same thing. You can put this in its carrying case and keep it in your car for those in-between touch-ups. This retails for about $8.95. The both of them together, if you want to buy them in the pack, retail for $24.95, again from California Car Cover Company in Chatsworth, California. This is something interesting we found in use on the Autobahn in Germany. This is called the Life Hammer, and this is no ordinary hammer. You see, in Germany and many other places, sometimes cars will go into the water or catch on fire and the doors won't open, the electric windows won't work. You can't get out of them. Well, what this is a device that has a recessed blade here in the bottom of it. And this will allow you to cut yourself free insofar as the seat belts go. And then, unlike a regular hammer, which might take several blows or many more to break glass, this will break it in just a couple of taps. This is a steel tip here that is shaped so that when you tap that window a couple of times, it's going to break that glass and let you out of that car. This literally could save your life. Comes in orange, other colors, and among them is this wood grain model here too. In its holder that you mount on your car, these are about $29.95, and it's from Innovative Products in Santa Barbara, California. Well, that's just about all the time we have on today's Classic Car Garage. We hope you've learned a little something from Tom and Jim and myself, and we'll see you next week when we continue with our 56 Chevy sedan delivery. Till then, for Tom and Jim, I'm Jeff Shea. Thanks for watching. See you next week on Classic Car Garage.